Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, we're jumping straight in today with something pretty big. Jamal Roberts winning American Idol season 23. We've got this really detailed article looking at the win, plus, the whole list of every Idol winner ever.
Right. And our goal here isn't just like a victory lap for him. It's more about digging into why everyone's calling this win historic. What's it actually tell us about American Idol, who's voting, and maybe even, broader cultural stuff.
Exactly, because, you look at that winner list and something just jumps out, doesn't it? This massive 22-year gap since the last black man won, Ruben Studdard, that was way back in 2003.
Yeah.
And then just nothing on that front until Jamal this year. So the question really becomes, what is one guy winning a reality singing show, where people are chasing a record deal based on audience votes? What does that tell us about, representation, music, what connects with people in America today? There are some kind of surprising things under the surface here.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that. That historical angle, it's huge. Jamal Roberts, only the second black man in 23 seasons. That stat alone, the 22-year gap, it just immediately makes you think, right, what's been going on with the voting or the audience or the show itself, it's clearly not just another winner.
And it's funny, the article points out that Roberts himself apparently had no idea about that specific piece of history, until after he won.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine carrying that weight, that 22-year thing, and he was just, focused on singing his heart out. But the media, they picked up on it instantly, called it a cultural moment right out of the gate.
Which, it arguably is. And if you just look at the data, like that list of winners you mentioned, it's stark, visually stark. You see the years roll by, 23 seasons since 2002, and just two black men, Studdard and Roberts.
Right. And here's another wrinkle the article brings up, the difference between black female winners and black male winners. We've seen quite a few incredibly talented black women take the crown over the years.
Yeah, Fantasia, Jordan Sparks, Candace Glover.
Exactly. So the fact that black men were basically absent from the winner's circle for 2 decades before Jamal, it makes you think about how race and gender might interact differently on a show like Idol. It's not just one category,
That's a really sharp point. The intersectionality matters. Okay, so we've set the stage. This win is rare, historically significant. Let's talk about Jamal Roberts, the person. 27-year-old R&B soul singer. Comes from Meridian, Mississippi.
Right, the PE teacher, father of 3. You get that sense of grounding, and his music often has that church background feel, doesn't it? Really soulful.
Definitely. And there's this authenticity theme that comes up a lot, his connection to his hometown, his family. Apparently he's not rushing off to LA or anything.
Yep.
Wants to stay rooted in Meridian.
And he didn't just walk onto the show first try either. Auditioned twice before. That shows some serious grit.
It really does. And musically, okay, he's R&B soul at his core, but then Lionel Richie came up with that great term. What was it? Jamalerizing?
Yeah, Jamalerizing. I love that.
Yeah. Taking basically any song, any genre, and putting his own R&B spin on it. Which, that's kind of a key insight right there, isn't it? That ability wasn't just talent, it was strategic. It let him be himself, but also reach wider.
Totally. It's like his signature. And the article talks about how he gets inside the lyrics, connects them to his own life. He said he wants to be a soul, inspirational singer. You kind of hear that ambition in the way he performs.
You do. And think about some of those performances. The audition, Mary Jane. Okay, great voice, but the judges wanted a bit more swagger, I think they said.
Yeah.
But then came Heal. Whoa, standing ovation, that became his single. That felt like a real moment.
Oh, Heal was something else. And the finale, singing first time, and apparently Jelly Roll was actually moved to tears. Plus, just my imagination, another Heal. It was pure emotion, pure R&B.
But not just R&B, and that's crucial. He did Tennessee Whiskey, he did Liar, he went into that country space.
Which was smart, right? Given the whole Idol landscape.
Incredibly smart, that Jamalerizing thing. It was his way to, stay authentic but still play the game, maybe appeal to parts of the audience that lean more toward country or other genres that are often seen as, dominant on the show.
Yeah, and his whole story, the teacher, the dad, the small town roots, it just fits those narratives people love, right?
Yeah.
The underdog, the authentic American story. Plus, seeing his growth from the judges wanting more stage presence to just raving about him later, that's a journey viewers get invested in.
So let's talk about navigating that Idol gauntlet, because there is this persistent chatter, right, about American Idol being a bit of a country stronghold, especially this season, with 2 country stars as judges.
Oh, yeah. That perception is definitely out there. So when Roberts, this R&B soul guy, starts rising, suddenly the narrative becomes, he's breaking the mold, he's a breath of fresh air, he's defying the country agenda, as some put it.
Which brings us to the audience and the voting. Because the finale numbers were huge. What was it, 26 million votes?
Record-breaking, yeah.
And the article brings up this interesting study from back in 2006, University of Arkansas. It looked at idol voting and found this tendency for, well, same race preference. Basically, viewers leaning towards contestants who share their background, especially later in the competition when votes feel more impactful.
Okay, so what does that mean for Jamal? Does the study suggest he won because of a huge black vote?
Well, it suggests that was likely a significant part of his support base. But, 26 million votes. To get that high, he had to be pulling in votes from way beyond just one demographic.
Right. Needs that crossover appeal.
Exactly. And the study kind of implies that too. For a black contestant to even make it to the finale, they've probably already shown they can connect broadly. So yeah, maybe same race preference helped solidify his base, especially towards the end, but he clearly resonated much wider. Maybe that underdog thing, or people just wanting a change from country, helped too.
Like a coalition of voters almost, people rooting for him for different reasons.
Could be. Okay, so let's dissect this breakthrough a bit more. What were the ingredients? The article talks about that it factor, charisma, connection, the stuff you can't really teach. Roberts definitely had that. People felt his emotion, his story.
You really did feel it, even through the TV. And then those strategic choices we talked about, dipping his toes into country, the article calls it smart, even groundbreaking. It broadened his reach without, selling out his R&B soul.
Right. And then there's this other idea, kind of fascinating, the vote-splitting hypothesis.
Ooh, what's that?
Other finalists who appealed more to the country or faith-based audiences, maybe they split that segment of the vote between them.
Ah, so it cleared a path.
Potentially. It might have made Roberts' coalition, which maybe included a strong R&B soul base, plus those crossover voters, look relatively more unified in the final count. It's speculation, obviously, but it makes a certain kind of sense in a competition like this.
That's really interesting. The specific mix of finalists mattered. And of course, you got to factor in the judges. Lionel Richie, Luke Bryan, they were pretty much all in on him, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. Consistently positive. Richie saying he was divinely guided, could sing anything. Bryan praising his authenticity, that connection. Even Carrie Underwood, maybe a bit more reserved, still noted his improvement. And, those comments influence people watching at home.
For sure. Judges' opinions carry weight. It feels like maybe the definition of a winner on Idol is shifting a bit too. It's not just about hitting the perfect notes anymore, but about that emotional connection, the storytelling. Roberts really seemed to nail that.
Absolutely. Which leads us to why this win felt like more than just, a TV show result. That phrase, cultural moment, keeps coming up because that 22-year gap, it forced a conversation about representation on these huge platforms again. Him winning felt like defying the odds.
Yeah, you saw that in the reaction. Big names chiming in, Jennifer Hudson, Anita Baker, Fantasia.
And politicians, too. From Mississippi, the governor, senators, congressmen, all congratulating him, talking about his talent, his heart, his resilience. It tapped into something bigger.
It really did. And Roberts himself leaned into it, saying, I won for my kids, I won for my hometown, I won for the state of Mississippi. It's that American dream narrative again, right? Plus his plans, wanting to do music initiatives back home. It's a different kind of success story, maybe more community focused.
It feels that way. Yeah. It provides this moment of positive representation, pushing back against that long absence of black men in the winner's circle. And the way the media framed it, focusing on him breaking that perceived genre bias, that keeps the pressure on the show, potentially influencing how they think about diversity going forward.
So when you put all the pieces together, it's the talent, obviously, the authenticity, those really smart genre choices, the audience connecting, maybe partly through that same race preference, but definitely broader. Then the specific mix of finalists, perhaps splitting votes, and finally, those big endorsements from the judges. It all just lined up.
It really did. It created this perfect storm for a historic win, breaking that 22-year pattern. And the implications, they feel pretty significant. It just shows talent can break through perceived barriers. It's inspiring for artists who might feel overlooked. And maybe, just maybe, it's a nudge for Idol itself to reflect.
But it's important to keep that perspective the article adds, right? One win, even a really significant one like this, doesn't mean the whole system has changed overnight.
Exactly. That's the crucial caveat. Is this a turning point or a really amazing exception? We kind of have to wait and see what happens next season and the season after that to know the real long-term impact.
True. But that idea of Jamalerizing, of finding ways to be authentic while strategically navigating the mainstream, that could be a really valuable lesson for other artists trying to break through.
For sure. So wrapping up, Jamal Roberts winning wasn't just about vocal chops. It was this complex mix of personal talent, smart strategy, cultural timing, audience dynamics.
Yeah.
It tells us so much about Idol, but also about these bigger currents in American culture and representation.
It really does. And it makes you think, doesn't it, about that balance artists have to strike, staying true to yourself versus adapting to reach a mass audience. What did digging into this make you think about, how pop culture and representation actually work?
Yeah, seeing all those factors converge is something else. And it leaves you with that big question, like you said, is this a real shift or just a blip? And what part do we, the audience, and platforms like Idol, play in making sure talented voices from all backgrounds get a fair shot? Definitely something to chew on.